Hello there. Water is pouring into the boot of my Nissan Primera P12 and there's plenty of it. Just look at this. Clearly this water leak is bad news. Why? Because my luggage is getting wet, I can't use the boot normally, and most notably a fish has moved in. So let's see if we can fix the water leak in my boot. Welcome to Cast by TV. Okay, I'm sitting in the boot, which is as comfortable as it sounds, so we can see what's going on. We're looking here at the right side of the car, specifically this carpeted trim. That has been getting very wet indeed, particularly over there. The water has then pulled down and absolutely soaked the carpet. That's why it's not here. I've had to take it inside to dry off. And in fact, even more than that, the water has been pooling down there where the spare wheel sits. And I had to remove several inches of water from there the other day. Now, I've already made a start in here, so you'll see I've started to remove some of the trim. This piece here is loose, there we go. And indeed that piece here is coming down from the side of the car, and the light is partly removed. So let's carry on getting these things out of the way, and then hopefully we can see where the water's coming in. Now, I suspect, for reasons that will become clear in a moment, that water leaks into the boot on this corner. But how can we be sure? My technique in such scenarios is to find the garden hose, spray the car with water and see what happens on the inside. And there we go. Can you see water dripping in here? Let's have a closer look at this corner. Okay, this looks interesting. Can you see this black gunk? It's old bodywork sealant. When it was new, the sealant was rubbery, pliable, and it fully covered the bodywork underneath where two body panels meet. Not anymore though. It's now dry, cracked, and some of it's missing. So, here's my theory. I reckon water makes its way past the sealant, through the metal bodywork panels that meet underneath the sealant, then emerges by the roof lining. I think the water then runs along these interior trim panels I removed earlier, then emerges where I showed you at the start of the video. If this theory is correct, there's a potentially easy solution. I need to replace the sealant. And I've got some new stuff here. There are many types available, but I've chosen Granville Seam Sealer, and you can use it on cars, boats, etc. It's simply painted on with a brush. So, I'm now preparing the surface by removing any of the old sealant that's loose. That will make it easier for the new stuff to stick, and there's quite a lot to remove. I really should use an old screwdriver for this rather than a decent one. Anyway, here's one of the big bits of sealant that came off. I barely touched it, it was only just hanging on, like my sanity. Okay, I'm a little disappointed. Why? Because this corner of the car is starting to go rusty. Here's a picture. Now, I know this isn't serious, but it's never nice to find rust on a car. Anyway, it needs to be dealt with before it spreads, so let's see if we can find a solution. Now, somewhere in this random box of car stuff, I've got some rust converter. If I can find it among all the other stuff, look. My brother bought me fluffy dice many years ago. I've also got, there's some brake cleaner, useful occasionally. Engine oil, unsuitable for any vehicle I currently own, not so useful, but nonetheless. There, that's quite good. That's a little shovel I carry in the winter in case it snows. It doesn't tend to snow here, but it has nonetheless got me out of trouble on a couple of occasions. There's various, what's that? Wax, polish, window Yep, there's the rust converter. There are various different types. This one's by Genolite and it's very easy to use. You just paint it on. I think I've got the brush from last time actually. Yeah, I do. It's completely knackered, but nonetheless it should work. So, as I mentioned a moment ago, the rust converter can just be painted onto the surface. There we go. This is nice and simple. Notice at this point that the converter is a creamy colour. That is significant. Okay, job done. Let's now fast forward 30 minutes. The rust converter is now dry and it's purple rather than cream. We therefore know that it's done its thing and we can move on. While we're here, this is broken too. It's the piece of polystyrene that sits on top of the spare wheel and contains all the tools. Fortunately, there's nothing you can't fix with gaffer tape. Okay, so I bought this brush for applying the sealant, but it's a little bit big, so I'm going to chop off some of the bristles. How many do you reckon? Like that? Oh, come on. There we go. They're going to fly everywhere, aren't they? Let's now apply the bodywork sealer. This is a little tricky as there's still barely room for my brush. Never mind though. There we go. That will do fine. So let's replace the interior trim. Okay, so we've just got a few bolts to put back in and one screw. And of course the light, so let's get that done. Now if you've got one of these cars, you may like to join the Nissan Primera Owners Club, which is a fantastic resource. If you've got a problem with your car, there's a forum, and you can go on there, explain the problem, and there's a better than not chance somebody will know what's wrong and give you a bit of advice. You can find it at www.npoc.co.uk. Right, there's one more bolt. I have mentioned this before in other videos, but if you do this kind of thing, you really would find a magnetic parts tray handy. Got all my nuts and bolts in one place, I won't lose them anymore. Okay, in you go. Okay, I've given the bodywork sealant time to dry, so that's job done. We now just need to wait for it to rain and make sure no water gets into the boot. And guess what? I think it's about to rain in 3, 2, 1, go! Okay, I've had a good look around the boot and it appears to be dry. So I think we've been successful. However, before we break open the champagne to celebrate, I'd like to monitor the boot longer term, as water leaks in the boot can be notoriously tricky to fix. So I think that's as far as we can go for now. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel before you go. Why bother? Because subscribing makes it easier to find my other videos. You can also ask any questions in the comment section. Oh, and do me a favour and click like on this video. You might also find my new book helpful. It's called How to Buy the Right Used Car, and it guides you through the entire process in simple, easy to follow steps. It's available at Amazon, and there's a link in the description of this video that takes you to it. Right, that's all for now. I hope it stops raining.